Qué guay. ¡Ah! Mira que yo.
Hostia, cómo
Yo tengo
mola.
una foto. Ahora que estamos bien. Ay, puedo hablarte. Qué guay.
Welcome to 12 Apostles Helicopters, guys. My name is Alicia. I'm going to be flying it today. We're off to have a look at London Bridge and the Apostles, roughly just a 15-minute return flight. Now we have our lovely smooth conditions out over the water today. May just get a few bumps as we cross the cliff line ahead. Now these are the Apostles coming into view just in front of us, guys. 5 features on our left-hand side, and the remaining 2 Apostles on our right. We have 7 stacks in total to make up our Apostles today. And just make sure your phones are on flight mode, guys. They're just buzzing in the headsets. And these are the final 2 just here on the right. We've got one with the pointy top and the second with the flat green top. After that, all the features have their own individual names based on how they look from ground level. The next 2 shorter stacks, they're called the Twin Sisters. Left of that, we've got the Salt and Pepper Shakers, followed by the Razorback Ridge with the jagged top. Next feature here on the right, shaped like a seahorse, is called Muttonbird Island. It's where the Lockhart vessel ran aground in 1878. We had just 2 survivors out of 54 passengers and crew that were on board. They got washed through the narrow opening onto the little stretch of beach, which is now known as Lockhart Gorge. I'll point this one out to you on the return as well. This next point on the right here with the boulder under the waves in front of it's known as Broken Head. And then the next feature with the hole through the middle, it's known as Baker's Oven. This next feature coming up ahead is called Sentinel Rock. It's the final and tallest feature of the National Park, standing just under 75 metres tall, roughly the height of a 20-storey building. We're coming up alongside Port Campbell Township, which is home to just under 600 permanent residents, so it's only quite a small town. We can have the population swell up to 3,000 or 4,000 each Christmas and New Year period. It's quite popular being so close to the National Park and the Apostles. Guys in the back there, can you just switch your phones on flight mode for me? Flight mode or Feshimashu?
Boleh. Entry and base.
A little stretch of beach just here on our right. This one is called 2 Mile Bay. Popular surfing spot for our locals. And then the next feature straight ahead, it's called the Arch. There are a couple of boulders sitting at the base. They're about the same size as the cabin of this helicopter, just to give you a bit of an idea of the size of some of these features. Now just behind the Arch, you've got this next little headland known as Point Hess. It's then on the far side of that headland, we'll see London Bridge. As we come around the corner, you'll see the big gap down the right of this feature. It's where the second archway used to connect it to the mainland. Now, the second arch, it did collapse into the ocean back in 1990, leaving 2 people stranded out on the rock. Nowadays, it's more commonly being referred to as London Arch instead of London Bridge, now that there's just a single archway and the feature is freestanding from the coastline. As you come around the very southern tip of Point Hess, guys, you'll see the vertical cut in the limestone. It's actually a staircase if you look close. This is London Bridge, just coming into view now. We'll turn to the left, we'll climb up a little bit higher and then we'll head back towards the Apostles. And this time we'll see all the features out the left-hand side of the aircraft. Here we go, guys, and London Bridge once more, just here on the left. You've got the single archway through the middle, and the gap down the right's where the second bridge used to stand. You've got the Port Campbell Township just on the left once again, and you can see the pier on the right of the bay. That's where our local fishermen lift their boats in and out of the water. We have the 5 commercial cray fishermen. They operate pretty much most of the year. You see quite a few of them out in the spring and summer seasons. We're coming up towards the Sentinel Rock once again, just under 75 metres tall. And then to the right of the Sentinel, you've got Double Bay or Twin Bays, home to one of our colonies of fairy penguins. The other 2 colonies of penguins, they'll come up onto the sand beneath the Apostles, and the third back up behind the London Bridge. The penguins will tend to come off onto the beaches after sunset, so they can be a little bit difficult to see. Unlike Phillip Island, we don't have any viewing platforms or lighting on the cliff line here. But if you come down early in the morning, calm winds, you can often still see the little footprints that they leave behind on the sand where they walk to and from the water. And the next feature once again with the hole through the middle, it's called Baker's Oven. And in the corner to the right of it, we've got the Sherbrooke River. And then Broken Head, followed by Muttonbird Island, the site of the Lockhart shipwreck. You can see the Lockhart Gorge, just that little stretch of beach at the back of the cliff line, so that's where the survivors of that shipwreck took refuge. And then once again, left to right, we have the Razorback, the Salt Pepper Shaker, and the Twin Sisters. And then these are your apostles just in front of us now. There's 7 stacks in total. As I mentioned on the party, we did start with 9. The 9th apostle just behind the first one here was the one that's been demoted because he's become a little bit too small and can no longer be seen from the lookout. And then the old number 8 apostle that collapsed in 05 is now just a pile of rocks on the sand, second back from the lookout wall. The final 2 stacks up ahead on the far side of the lookout, these are known as Gog and Magog. Both separate to the apostles, they're the only 2 features we can see from ground level. They sit on the sand below the Gibson steps. That staircase we'll see in front of us as we cross the coast. And just before we make our descent, we'll get a nice view of all the apostles that lined up once again. This time out the left-hand windows. Thanks very much for flying with us today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And when we land, I do remind you not to operate the doors. The ground staff will come out and escort you from the helicopter. I'll assist you with your seatbelts as well once we've landed, so just keep everything buckled up for me. Now we are landing up near the hangar this afternoon. This was my last... So just stay seated for us, guys. Thanks very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the flight today.